Welcome in D&D and Warhammer friends. This is the beginning build for the ultimate unmatched swordmaster duelist, aka the Champion of Slaanesh, Azazel. This build will see you not just holding your own against the toughest opponents in single combat, but dishing out devastating fast damage. Slaanesh themselves would find this build to be perfection. A little backstory with this build is it is based off of one of the Champions of Chaos from the Warhammer Fantasy universe and the Total War Warhammer series. Azazel was once a human swordmaster named Geryon, whose skill was unmatched and was a brother to one of the bodyguards of Sigmar, the savior of all mankind. However, Geryon's heart turned bitter after the death of his bodyguard brother in a major battle against the Orc menace, but his death he blamed specifically on Sigmar himself. After years of feigning friendship with Sigmar and letting his resentment fester, Slaanesh, the chaos god of pleasure and excess, was intrigued and whispered to Geryon to assassinate Sigmar, which nearly went perfectly as he ambushed Sigmar while he was bathing in a river. However, Geryon's sister, who was the lover of Sigmar, stepped in at the last second only to be killed by her own brother. Devastated at the loss of both of his siblings, Geryon fled into the Chaos Waste to pledge his sword, his skills, and his very soul to Slaanesh, living on for many centuries as an unbeatable swordsman and scourge to all that is good. This character is for role-playing and flavor, but however you can optimize this to be capable in combat as well. To match the character of Azazel, we will be picking a Tiefling as our race, specifically the Zariel Tiefling, to gain proficiency in intimidation and performance checks. Azazel himself was very intimidating as a sword fighter, so this already leans into that kind of roleplay. The class for this roleplay build is going to be a bit surprising to you, especially for a lot of Warhammer friends, but Bard would be the best suitable choice for this character, especially later on as you level. You will pick the College of Sword Bards for the dueling proficiency. Also, getting flourishes for extra damage and extra attack at level 6 is very handy, plus also really matches Azazel's character well. In future videos, I'll go into more detailed depth on possible multi-classing for this character too. For backgrounds, you will choose Soldier for Azazel, as he was a loyal soldier and bodyguard to Sigmar before turning to Slaanesh and leading the armies of that demon prince. This gives you fitting skill proficiencies in more intimidation and also more athletics too. As for the cantrips, to fit the theme and roleplay of Azazel, you will choose True Strike. Azazel himself was a precise sword master, and even this minor cantrip will help make sure that you are ever closer to hitting your mark. And to complement that, you will choose Blade Ward to have any incoming damage from nearly all weapons. As a side note, Azazel himself was capable of dodging attacks well, and this ensures a little bit of extra protection and footwork. Now comes my favorite part of choosing the spells, and yes, Azazel in Total War Warhammer has access to spells and magic from the lore of Slaanesh, despite being mainly a sword master. And to fit the roleplay, we will just have this bard lore be the lore of Slaanesh, and a lot of the spells kind of fit in and sort of have that Slaanesh charm pleasure flavor to them. Speaking of charm persons fits the Slaanesh theme very well with dialogue, and especially in combat scenarios, to stop an enemy in their tracks from attacking you and buying you some extra time to allow you to focus your damage on other would-be attackers. Dissonant Whispers leans into the horror of Slaanesh's Keeper of Secrets with the psychic damage and also immobilizing your enemy for more devastating follow-up attacks. Pick up Heroism for temporary hit points to help you stay longer in the fight, and it is extra insurance if you do find yourself getting hit a little bit too often. Heroism doesn't really fit in with Azazel specifically, but you could just roleplay it as his past small semblance of his heroic self way before Slaanesh took their soul. Last but not least, Longstrider will play into the trope of Slaanesh warriors being all about speed and fast lightning attacks on the battlefield. Use this for faraway enemies or pesky casters who you want to close the distance on, because really, speed kills. For the skills, you really want to go into the seductiveness of Slaanesh and the alluring influence to pick up deception, intimidation, performance, and persuasion. And also, since Azazel was a pretty fit and lean bodyguard, you'll pick up athletics as well. Ability point distribution will be a dump into charisma up to level 7. Ability point distribution will be a total dump into charisma up to 17 with 2 extra points thrown in for your spells, but also for later levels using that as your damage output over strength, which you will be taking points away from. Dexterity will also gain points up to 16 or 17 if you can really bump it up there. Take some points away from intelligence, leave wisdom normal at 10-ish, while also putting points into constitution for a little bit of extra health. That's it for this character build. As I said, this is mainly for roleplay and flavor, but there's many aspects of this character that can be a good optimized combat potential too. I will be making later videos on potential multi-classes and also for more subclasses with this character. And let me know in the comments as well what kind of builds you would like to make, and also what else you would like to see for character creation too. And if you love talking shop about all things D&D, Baldur's Gate, and Warhammer, hit that subscribe, like, and bell icons, and I'll save you a seat at the table.